Hi guys, we're live. I think we're live. I never know if I'm live on this. I press a button and then something happens, and I just wait for the number to go up in terms of the number of people watching. Still says 0. It's just me and Michelle here. Michelle, you can't see Michelle, but she's in the background doing the moderating. Oh no, 11. Oh, we have people. People are coming in. Hi guys, welcome to the live stream. It's Monday. You know what day it is. It's Monday the 7th of October. But if you're watching this in the future, this is a live stream. You need to come on live next time because we have a lot of fun. But yeah, Monday the 7th of October. It's 9 o'clock in the UK, 9 p.m. obviously. I've had quite a long weekend. It was my birthday weekend, which well, you can put two and two together and imagine what happened. But feeling a little bit tired today. But yeah, so what we thought we'd do. The reason for this live stream is because, as you know, there's been lots and lots of Apple products released recently. We've had the iPhone 16 Pro Max, we've had the regular iPhone, we've had AirPods 4 and AirPods 4 with ANC, we've had AirPods Max, and we've had an Apple Watch Series 10, and we've had updates to things like the AirPods Pro. So it's been a very, very busy period, and if the rumours, they are rumours, but if the rumours are to be believed, there could be some stuff very, very soon, some other stuff coming as well, which I'm sure we'll cover during this live stream. But the reason we thought we'd do this live stream is because there's been so many comments, and if you have contributed to the views and the comments and the subscribes we've had recently, thank you so much. It's been a very, very busy period, but we do get lots and lots of comments in my videos, and I can't answer all of them at all. So what we thought is, let's have a live stream. You can come on. You can ask as many questions as you have about the... I don't work for Apple, by the way. This is all you'll get is my opinion. But you can ask me questions. I can get some feedback from you guys in terms of what you think about the recent release and the potential upcoming releases from Apple. And you can ask me any other questions you might have about this channel and all the rest of it. What we did do before this as well was collate all of the questions that we had from the videos that we've published so far, and looking through them, they're fairly there's some commonalities. A lot of people are asking the same questions, so I think I'm going to leave this bunch of questions until the end, just in case we run dry. But I have a feeling, and also some of you may be on this live stream, so you can ask the question again. But anyway, before we get into that, let's do the usual thing of doing a round table. Where are you calling in from or watching from? Is it not? You're not calling in. It's not Saturday morning TV, is it? Where are you watching from? I love this bit. I love finding out where you guys are based. Let's have a look. Germany. I was in Germany very recently, in Berlin. Love it. Love Berlin. I've been to Berlin loads recently. London, Scotland, Liverpool, Milton Keynes. I used to live near Milton Keynes. I used to live in I'm from Northampton. We used to go shopping at Milton Keynes because that's what we always did. Sheffield, my front room, Minnesota, Virginia, Leighton Buzzard. Amazing. Not amazing, but it is amazing. Obviously, it's Leighton Buzzard. What am I talking about? Luton. Where else? Minneapolis, Cincinnati. Luton, Chester, India, The Hague. There's a bunch of places you'd never say in one sentence normally. So many. Wirral, Lakewood, New Jersey, Croydon, Leamington. Someone is from Leamington. Leamington is just down there somewhere, or over there somewhere. Nuneaton, Runcorn, Canada. Honestly, I know this is what I do for a living, but it always amazes me how many... all the different places people watch this stuff from. It's incredible. It's the best thing about doing this. I love it. Hartlepool, link a lot of people from the UK. I sound surprised, but the metrics for the channel, generally speaking, the US is the biggest audience. But it's always interesting to hear that people are from Leighton Buzzard or Leamington Spa. Prague, New York. Love New York. I want to go back to New York. I went to New York last year and I desperately want to go back. Texas, Halifax, India. You're from everywhere, basically. It's amazing. Mark, I have to confess, I'm a Samsung fangirl. Michelle, quick, banner. No, don't. not an Apple fanboy like you. We want everyone here. This is a very inclusive channel in terms of what device you want to use, what your favourite device is. I'm sure we'll cover this tonight because it's the usual iOS/Android thing that's being battled out in the comments. Some lovely comments here, guys. Thank you so much. But yeah, ask questions. So, like I say, Michelle is sitting in the background looking for comments, and she's going to star them for me so I can pick them out fairly easily. We seem to get loads of questions. So it used to be very hard for me just to try and find them. So Michelle is doing that job brilliantly behind the scenes. Let's just get straight. I mean, do we get straight into it? Do I talk a little bit about what I think? Maybe I talk a little bit about what I think about the recent releases from Apple. Let's keep it fairly brief as well. So the iPhone, I have the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This is now my daily driver. I know some people hate that phrase. This is my daily driver, and it's a very complicated relationship I have with this phone because I won't go. Most of you who watch the channel will know this, but I kind of defected to Samsung back in February, I think it was. Started using the S24 Ultra as my main phone, then switched to the Z Fold 6 in July, whenever it was launched, and eventually came back to this. So I spent well over half a year away from the iPhone, and it was genuinely not being used. It was in I've got a drawer over there with all of the review phones. It was in that drawer. I only got it out once or twice to take photos of it or do some comparison stuff. Didn't use it as my phone at all. And as a guy who's used the iPhone for well over 10 years, that was quite a big departure. So coming back to it has been really nice in that respect. It's been great to get back to it, and I wrote about this in a blog post today that it feels like home for me. It's just, and this, the Samsung fangirl who commented a moment ago, for you, it will be Android, Samsung. That is your home, and it feels very natural to use. This feels incredibly natural. So coming back to it has been great. It's been tempered by the fact that this is quite a troubled release, which we'll get into, I'm sure, for two reasons, which again we'll get into. The iPhone 16, this isn't mine. This is going to my girlfriend because, bless her, she's still got, it's embarrassing really. She lives with a tech YouTuber. She's got an iPhone 12 Pro, which is a great phone, but it's smashed to bits because our son has tried to eat it and drop it and all the rest of it. Successfully dropped it and almost successfully eaten it. So she's been battling along with that, bless her, for the last year. I've been promising her a new phone. It's her birthday soon, so she's going to get this for her birthday. And I think this is a much better phone than this. In terms of looks, and I think that looks great, doesn't it? I love the look of the iPhone 16. It's such a good-looking device compared. This is impressive, but it's like it's your mate who turns up to the pub in a suit. It's no, just get dressed down a little bit, chill out. And it's that kind of phone. And okay, it's got a 60 hertz display. What else is wrong with it? A few other things, but look at it. Just look at it. So I love this phone. I think the size is great as well. It's a really good size. So that's the phones. Then we had the new AirPods 4. These are the ANC version. I'm not going to open them because whenever I do that, it connects to something, and I'm really worried that if I do that, which means I can't take these out of their case because I don't want to connect to something on the Mac and then you lot disappear. I worry that I might disappear, which isn't the bad thing, but yeah, AirPods 4 with ANC, they are brilliant, actually, really, really good if they stay in your ears. They don't stay in my left ear. My left ear is weird. I have a weird left ear, and it just falls out. So it's a real shame. So please check they fit before you go and get them. But they're very, very good. I think they sit in a class of their own as well. I think when I was reviewing these, I was trying to think of a competitor that sits in that same price bracket with ANC. I can't think, and a comparable ecosystem. I can't think of anything. So they're very, very good. AirPods Pro 2, not new, but they do have the new hearing aid functionality and some other bits and pieces that Apple have built into them as a software or firmware update. I love that. I love the kind of hearing health stuff they're doing with these. It's such an obvious thing for these to do. The fact they have that great transparency mode and all the mics built into them, it makes sense to turn them into hearing aids, doesn't it, of a kind. But obviously they've had to get approval from is it the FDA? What is it? I don't know what it is in the States, but all the kind of bodies that govern all the health stuff, they've had to wait for that, understandably. But they've got it now, and these can be do they call them clinical grade hearing aids? Something like that. Brilliant. Then we have the Apple Watch Series 10, which, again, a bit of a weird return to this for me, because I've spent even longer than I spent without the iPhone, without the Apple Watch. I went from Garmin to Huawei to OnePlus to Samsung, and I enjoyed all of those watches from all of those brands, mainly because, two reasons. One, most of them had circular watch faces, and two, the battery life on all of them was amazing, absolutely incredible. Days and days, up to 10 days, 15, 20 days in some cases, where Garmin's concerned. And yeah, it's just coming back to this has been a bit, okay, but it's the combination of that and that which is unmatched. And this is how clever Apple is. It's how they get you. It's how they avoid being too doing anything more than iterative design tweaks and stuff with their hardware, because the ecosystem's so good. And there's nothing like the Apple Watch paired with an iPhone. It does just work. I know it's a cliche. It annoys people who aren't Apple fans, but it works. What else? Oh yeah, what else? AirPods Max. Not AirPods Max second gen. They're just AirPods Max with USB-C, and that's it. New colours. And some people have suggested that the ANC, the noise cancelling, is slightly better apparently, and there's been a tweak to the algorithm for the transparency mode. They're just the same pair of headphones, same price. They don't have the H2 chip, which is what's in both of these, even the cheap ones, and the AirPods Pro 2. So you don't get that, the shaking your head to say no to Siri. You don't get the conversation awareness and various other things. We'll come on to these. So they're my immediate thoughts about the Apple releases. In terms of what might be coming up, hang on, let me take it off its stand. This isn't it, obviously. This is the iPad Mini 6. Promise it's not the 7. This is the 6. We've had it since 2021. It's very, very old in tech terms in that respect. Needs a new display. It needs a new chip. It could do with Face ID, I think. And I'd love a mini Magic Keyboard more than anything in the world. Rumours are that is going to come this month, hopefully. The other thing that might be coming this month is new Macs, M4 Macs. There's an M4 Mac doing the rounds. Someone seems to have obtained an M4 MacBook Pro somehow. Really weird. It's not confirmed that it is definitely that thing, although there's some very, very suspect photo, not even suspect photo, very realistic looking photos of the box and all that sort of stuff, and the benchmarks, what have you. But yeah, M4 MacBook Pros, new Mac Mini, a redesigned Mac Mini, which is really exciting. I had lots of plans with that if that happens. I think these things are going to happen. I think we are going to get the iPad Mini. I think we're going to see that this month. And I think we will see that redesigned Mac Mini and the M4 MacBook Pros. So I'm excited. I'm not excited about the MacBook Pros because it's just a spec bump. But I'm very excited about the Mac Mini and the iPad Mini. There's a theme there, isn't there? It's all mini stuff. Right, sorry, I need to keep drinking today because I'm a bit dehydrated. Let's, before I go into the questions, let me have a quick look through some of your comments, anything that's kind of popping out to me. Let's have a look. Still, all the places are still coming in. Halifax, loads of people from the States. Lots of questions as well. There are so many questions here. Let's just get straight into the questions. Let's do it. Right. Is there going to be a new Apple TV in 2024? No idea. Although I think there should be. I can't. How old is the current Apple TV? Michelle, maybe you can tell me in the private chat if you can do a quick bit of research. I can't even tell. I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head when the current Apple TV was launched. But although I have no idea if one's coming, obviously, because I don't know, and there's not really been any rumours from what I'm aware of. My Apple TV, I've got two. I've got an Apple TV here in the studio and one at home. They're both the current model, the latest model, but they're both showing signs of doing weird things. If it was just one of them, I could perhaps assume there might be a fault with it. But the fact they're both a little bit sluggish at times, a little bit jittery. I don't know if anyone else, if you've had this in the comments, let me know. A little bit jittery, a little bit slow to open certain apps. They crash a lot. They seem to be getting quite a few updates as well, I've noticed. It just feels as though we're getting to a point where they might need to get a new one in. But that said, apart from speeding it up a bit and giving it a new chip and maybe a bit more RAM and that sort of stuff, maybe readying it for Apple Intelligence, who knows? 2022, Michelle says that's when the current one was launched. So yeah, a couple of years old. It probably is due an update, but I can't get that excited about it, really. I can't get very excited about new Apple TV. I don't think I'd upgrade. Why would I upgrade unless they got worse and worse? They're usable at the moment. They're not falling apart. There's just that kind of weird slowness creeping in that you often get from something which feels like it might need upgrading. Right, questions, lots of questions. Keep your questions coming, guys. This is down to you now. These live streams tend to go far better when there's loads of questions. If it's just me sitting here waffling on, that isn't very interesting. It's not. In fact, it's always me waffling on. But if I'm waffling on in response to your questions, hopefully it's more interesting. What has been your best purchase of all time from Apple? Oh God, that's a really good question. My best You know what I'm looking at, don't you? I think it was the iPhone mini, the iPhone 13 mini. I still think, that phone is over there somewhere. It doesn't turn on anymore. I was trying to use it. There was something I was trying to use it for recently, and it doesn't turn on. There's no power to it at all. It won't charge. There's no resetting it. It doesn't work. It's just dead, which is really sad. But yeah, the iPhone 13 mini, I still think it's not Apple's best ever product. Obviously, I'd have to really think about what I think is their best ever product. But the best, answering your question, what was the best purchase of all time? Yeah, the iPhone 13 mini, followed by the iPad mini, because I still use the iPad mini every day. In fact, maybe that makes it the best purchase. Maybe it's the iPad mini. Maybe that probably is fairer, isn't it? Because it's always here. I'm always using it for reading from scripts and for this sort of thing, referring to the notes and stuff over there. It's just such a handy little thing. I really hope they renew it. They have to, surely. Wendy, I was expecting this one. Which phone will you be using by the end of the year? The iPhone 16 Pro Max. There's not going to be anything that arrives, unless something incredible comes in between now and Christmas, that is going to tempt me away from this. And to be honest, I've had a bit of stick, as you'd guess, from people saying, "Oh yeah, wait until January when the S25 Ultra comes out." Maybe if the S25 Ultra is amazing, I called the S24 Ultra the best phone I've ever used. It still is. It genuinely is. Something about that phone I absolutely love. If the S25 comes out and does the same thing, I might be tempted to. But I may not. I don't know. Until it comes out, who knows? It might be terrible. It might be awful. But between now and the end of the year, Wendy, it's the iPhone. Another thing, and I mentioned this, I don't think it was a video, I think it was a blog post I wrote, that swapping phones all the time is a real pain in the backside. It's, you constantly, I've got it down to quite a fine art these days, but it's still annoying. Really, WhatsApp is really annoying to transfer between between iOS and Android in particular. I just can't be bothered to keep doing it, really. Yeah. So, it will be the iPhone, basically. Is the iPhone 13 worth buying? Howard Official. I don't think so. I can't even think what chips in the iPhone 13. It's a few generations back. You shouldn't ever, as old Marquez says, MKBHD says regularly, you shouldn't buy stuff based on the promise of future functionality. I know that's not helped him recently, but Apple Intelligence is only compatible with the iPhone 16, the 16 Pro and Pro Max, and the 15 Pro and Pro Max. Anything below that, it doesn't work with. So I think buying anything below the 15 Pro or Pro Max at the moment, unless you don't care about Apple Intelligence and you don't mind the fact that that whatever phone you buy is going to be a bit closer towards the end of the line for support updates at some point, then, and if the price is right, go for it. But if any of that stuff bothered you, I wouldn't bother, personally. I mean, the fact that my iPhone 13 mini is dead, and it wasn't doing anything. It was in the tray, in the, that sounds terrible. It was in the very important phone drawer over there, doing nothing, and it just died. That might say what needs to be said about older generations. There's certain names that are popping up that I don't want to destroy, so I won't try and pronounce them. I'm terrible pronouncing names. Will the 16 Pro Max with 256 gig be able to handle the upcoming Apple Intelligence from Norway? You'd hope so, wouldn't you? I mean, if it didn't, that'd be worrying. It's not. From what I understand, my limited understanding of Apple Intelligence is it's very intensive, obviously on the NPU, on the neural engine in the chip, but also on RAM. I think RAM is quite a big deal with Apple Intelligence and AI in general. So the site there, how much storage you have, unless the 256 gig version of the 16 Pro Max has less RAM, I have no idea. But even so, you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine with that. Is the condensation problem with the AirPods Max still the same? And when does it happen, actually? So this condensation thing, if you weren't aware, I'm going to have to take them out of this, aren't I? Let's hope they don't... If I disappear... That's fine. Can you still hear me? Please say you can still hear me. This is why I didn't want to take them out of the thing. Can you still hear me? I'm sure you can. I'm pretty sure you can. You can, that's good. Okay, these are quite scary, these live streams sometimes. Okay, so the condensation issue is, if you take these off, you can't do that with every pair of headphones, by the way, but you can take these off very easily. You can see the driver in there, or the cover over the driver. What happens sometimes is, particularly if you live in hotter countries, so if you have quite a warm climate, if you've got a lot of, if humidity is quite high, and you're wearing these for long periods of time, there can be a build-up of condensation in here. So you take this off after wearing it for a couple of hours, and there'd be little droplets of water around here, which obviously looks fairly frightening. I think on my other pair, my old pair of AirPods Max, the old-fashioned ones with lightning and old-fashioned colours, I think I checked them once, and there was after quite. I live in England. We don't have issues really regularly with heat. But I remember it being summer, and I just out of interest took off the pad, and there were little droplets in there. My suspicion with this, I've never had any issues with them, by the way. That it hasn't broken them. Again, I don't live in a very hot country, but I've had no issues with my previous pair, which I've had since 2020. But I know other people have. People have told me that they've had to take them back multiple times, etc., etc. That said, though, I'm still not convinced it's an issue. I think most headphones probably do that. I can't see how many headphones wouldn't do that. It's an area inside the driver housing that is probably susceptible to that kind of condensation. It's just that you can take the pads off so easy on the AirPods Max that you can see it. Most of the headphones that I've got in the studio, you can't take the pads off. They can be removed professionally, but you can't do it yourself unless you fancy trying. So I've never really thought this is much of an issue. But whenever I say that, I get no end of stick, and people tell me I'm an idiot for not thinking it's an issue. But I get called an idiot quite a lot. And you do, as a tech YouTuber, you get used to that. But yeah, I'm not convinced it's an issue, personally. Dominic, do you think that Apple will do a big upgrade on the AirPods Max next year? H2 chip, new case, and any of the fixes or flaws that other people were complaining about? There's lots of thoughts on this. A lot of fairly well connected people have said that is possibly what's going on here. That the fact that we've only received these with USB-C, which is in part, although Apple, Apple has never said this, is apparently in part to meet EU regulations, which states that by the end of 2024, obviously this year, any devices, I'm not sure what the exact categories are, but things like phones and headphones have to have USB-C charging. It's this thing that the EU are bringing in to try and reduce electronic waste and all that sort of stuff, which is great and all the rest of it. But so there's a suspicion that Apple has done this very quickly, or just in time to get them in to meet that regulation, so they can carry on selling them in the EU and keep making money from the EU sales and profiting from that. and that the reason and the actual the bigger update wasn't ready this year, but it might be ready in 2025. I'd argue with that. They've had 4 years to do this. I struggle to believe that they didn't have the time to give us the proper AirPods Max this year. The AirPods Max 2. It's really odd. I don't get it. I've said, I'll say it again, it won't happen, but I've said on a couple of videos and on tweets and things that if anybody works for Apple in the AirPods Max department, or knows someone who does, who has access to PR and they can do PR stuff, I'd love just to ask a few questions, because I firmly believe that every business decision is made for a reason, obviously, and these were released for a reason. I just can't work out what it is, and I'd love to. It's only fair to give them their say. Unfortunately, Apple is monstrously silent on this stuff. They never say anything, so we don't know. But there's a good chance, Dominic. Enough, like I say, enough people who I respect and I've seen who've been right on other stuff have said that's the case. So maybe, maybe, who knows? G-Man says, own Pro 2s. I assume you mean AirPods Pro 2. Is it worth grabbing a Max for spatial audio? If you're referring to the and he said OnePlus, the AirPods Pro 2, i.e. these, you have spatial audio. You have everything. You have spatial audio. You have Dolby Atmos support, head tracking. Nod to say yes to Siri, conversational. You have everything because it's got the H2 chip in. So I may have got that wrong, but I think you've got what you need. RS Chris 1980. Which car does that refer to, Chris? Just out of interest. Assuming it is a car. I own Bose earbuds. Would the sound quality on the AirPods Pro be a worthy upgrade? Depends what Bose you've got. I've not heard every Bose earbud going, obviously, but I do like the sound of Bose stuff. Bose do make very nice sounding earbuds. If you've got the QC Ultra, the AirPods Pro would only be an upgrade from an ecosystem point of view. They wouldn't be an upgrade for sound or noise cancelling. Noise cancelling on the Bose is just a notch above AirPods Pro 2, and AirPods Pro 2 is very good in that respect. So no, only if the ecosystem thing is important to you, to be honest. Great questions, guys. Finn says, Apple Watch Series 4 to 10, worth the upgrade? Yes, 100%. That's a huge upgrade, and you'll be very thankful you did it. One of the great things about the 10 is that it doesn't, I don't know if you can see here, it sits far flusher against your skin. So I've always found that with previous Apple Watches, that they kind of bulged off your skin a little bit because and it was my podcast co-host Rob that pointed this out. They've moved the lugs for the strap down a little bit, so it just kind of sits much nicer on your arm, or certainly on my arm. I just think it looks better. But 4 to 10's a huge upgrade, massive. Mark, sorry if I've missed it. How do I compare to Garmin? Terribly. In the Series 10 compared to Garmin, any Garmin watch gets destroyed in battery life and capabilities for proper working out, proper running, which I don't do, by the way. I run 5K, that's me done. But if you're really into proper marathons and ultra marathons and hiking multiple days, all that sort of stuff, then this pales in comparison. But if you're looking for something that works perfectly with your iPhone and is a real wrist computer, the 10 walks all over Garmin. So they're very hard products to compare, actually. I know I've tried to do that in certain videos and, again, get quite a lot of flack for it. But I think if you're a Garmin or an Apple Watch person, really. And will you do a review of the Garmin Mark? I get quite a few requests for this. So I kept promising a review of the Garmin Mark Commander. The reason it didn't happen is simply because we could not find space for it in the calendar. If you could see the production calendar for this business, it is absolutely nuts. And we have to be so careful with videos in terms of where we bring them in, because we need them to gain views. And it wasn't looking good for the Mark Commander. So it will appear on the channel channel at some point, and it will probably be some kind of rundown of my favourite watches this year, something like that. I do want to feature it because I really like that watch. A couple of issues with it, but I do like it. It's a really nice watch. Expensive, but good. So, as per leaks, iPhone 17 and 17 Plus getting 120 Hz. Do you think Pro models make sense for everyday user? No, the Pro models don't make sense for everyday user. Just get the iPhone 16 or the 17. These are great phones. Most normal users don't care about the 60 Hz. My girlfriend has got no idea what that is. She doesn't know what a refresh rate is. Most of my mates who aren't that bothered about tech but love their phones don't know what the refresh rate is. They don't care, and they probably haven't experienced ProMotion. It grates with me. Going from all the ProMotion displays that I use to this is a bit, and I find it hard to justify now. But I do have to remind myself that normal, regular users don't care. So yeah, everyday user, just get the 16. The 16 is a brilliant phone. Apart from that, the refresh rate, it's a brilliant phone. Such a good phone. Nadir, buying AirPods Pro Gen 1 or 2, is it worth it now? Gen 2, yeah, I wouldn't bother getting Gen 1, personally. The difference between AirPods Pro 1 to AirPods Pro 2 is night and day. I could not get over how good these are. The sound quality is so much better, the noise cancelling is so much better, the transparency mode, everything about them is better. They look the same, they fit the same, the case is better, they've got this little lanyard thing, it's got the speaker built into it. Don't bother with the ones, definitely not. Do you think Apple will launch foldable phones soon? No, I don't think they're ever going to do it, if I'm being completely honest. I just don't think it's for them. I think two reasons. One of them is because they can't get around the crease. I know the crease is getting less and less on a lot of phones, like the Magic V3 from Honor looks incredible. You can barely see the crease. We are getting the OnePlus Open in soon, which I've not used yet, but I kept getting requests for reviewing it, so we are going to get that and see. Because I've heard the crease on that is very, very minimal, but that's still too much for Apple. I think that and the fact that it could potentially cannibalise sales of the iPad Mini and maybe iPads in general for them, they're just not going to go near it. I just don't think the technology is good enough for them. I don't think they will. I might be proved wrong, but I can't imagine a foldable iPhone. I genuinely can't. It's a shame because I'd like to see what they do with it, but I can't see it happening. Should I get the iPad or the AirPods Max first? My school class has iPads and I somehow got interested in them. Here's the thing, I already have a school laptop from the school and AirPods Pro 2. Your school sounds awesome. I mean, I'm old, so the internet was barely a thing when I was at school, but should you get iPad or the AirPods Max first? So you've got a laptop from the school and you've got AirPods Pro 2. I get the iPad. Why am I even thinking about that question? Just get the iPad. If you've got AirPods Pro 2, you've got AirPods Pro 2. Amazing. You've got the better. I compared these with not these, but the old ones, and basically came to the conclusion that these are better than the AirPods Max. Again, lots of people thought I was an idiot for thinking that, but they are. I'm sorry, in my opinion. So you're in such a good position here. You've got your laptop. You've got AirPods Pro 2. Get the iPad. Forget the AirPods Max. You'll love the iPad. You probably won't love the AirPods Max. They're a complicated product. Lee, how often do you accidentally hit the camera button on the new phone? Me, it's about 4 times a day, all the time. So we haven't spoken about this yet, have we? We're 33 minutes in and we haven't spoken about the camera button yet. Sorry, camera control. For those who don't know, you'll all know this. That is the camera control there. And it's ridiculous, basically. But what Lee's saying is that he's always accidentally, 4 times a day it's enough to be annoying, isn't it? Accidentally instigating it, and it's very easy to do. I think it depends on how you pick your phone up, but I generally pick my phone up like that, and my finger just falls immediately on the camera button. Same thing if I'm getting it out of my pocket, it kind of does it. Yeah, it kind of falls here-ish. It's annoying. It's such an annoying button. I mean, if I start talking about it now, I might not shut up. Do I want to go into this now? How many questions have we got about the camera control? Let me talk about it a bit. It's two problems with it. The first problem is, three problems. The one that Lee mentions here. The other problem is the fact that it's just in the wrong place. So for me anyway, and I'm not the only person saying this, if I want to take a photo with my phone in landscape and I want to use a button for it, my finger just goes there, literally just to the right of the camera control. To use the camera control, I have to go like that, and just that movement is annoying. Feels unnatural. I mean, the distance between that finger and that finger is annoying. So you then kind of come around like this, which then means you're obscuring part of the frame, so you can't really see what you're taking the photo of. And then you press it and you kind of introduce a little bit of camera judder. You skew the frame a little bit. Okay, with a bit of practice, you might get around that. It's got this weird half press thing where you kind of gently press it and it then gives you a little menu, which it's doing now. But that takes forever. If you want to do that to get between the 3x and the 5x zoom, it's much easier just to press the display. The second problem is the third problem with it is the fact that we didn't need it. I've used other phones with, in fact, one main line of phones, Sony's Xperia range, that has a shutter button. But they've put it in the right place for starters, so it feels comfortable to use, and it's got the mechanical half press thing where, like on a camera like this one, you half press to focus and then you fully press to take the photo. And Sony have done it right, and it's not touch sensitive. It's just a little button. It's about that big, and away you go. Even with those phones, I didn't use it that often because we've become so accustomed just to going on the screen. It's just a natural thing that we've got used to over the course of however many years that has been a thing on smartphones. It's ingrained into us. So you have to really train yourself to use this. It doesn't feel natural, and that training is made all the more tricky because it's in the wrong place. And then, funnily enough, if you turn the phone around like that, there's another button. We've got so many buttons on iPhones now. They used to try and get rid of buttons, didn't they? We now have more buttons than ever before. It's so confusing. But yeah, if you turn it around, lo and behold, there's another button there called the Action button, which they launched with the iPhone 15, I think, wasn't it? Which you can customize. I don't know if you can do it. Have they changed that? Maybe they have. But it can become the camera shutter button in the right place. And it's just a button. Okay, it hasn't got the half press thing. It's not touch sensitive, yada, yada, yada. But if you want to use your phone, use a button to take photos, we kind of had it already. So that's the problem with the camera control. It's utterly, poorly, dreadfully implemented and not very nice to use. I don't know how it got out the door. I genuinely don't. I've not seen a positive review of it yet at all. I have seen some positive comments in the in the comment sections of my videos, but they are few and far between. Very, very few and far between. In fact, most of the ones that have come through have been that expletive and insulting and nasty that YouTube sticks them into the idiot bin. So the kind of people that are enjoying using this thing fall into that category. What was the question that Lee said about how many times? And you do accidentally press it all the time. It's such a... Why? David, you don't talk much about it. HomeKit, are you a user fan of it? No, I don't talk about it at all, actually, David. I wish I did. I wish I could get more into HomeKit stuff. Again, Rob, my podcast co-host, he's got loads of stuff going on. He's done some really smart stuff with his... with HomeKit and home automation and that kind of stuff. I've never really got into it. It's not that I don't want to. It's not even a lack of time. This is my job. If I wanted to get into it, I could make it part of my job. I just haven't felt the urge to for some reason. It's always there though. It's always, and people like yourself then say that, and I then think I should be doing this. I'm doing a disservice to my audience for not doing it. So. I'm neither a user nor a fan, but I don't hate it. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's potentially a very exciting thing. I just don't, for some reason, invest any time in it, but maybe I should. Maybe I've got to start doing that. George Washington. Is it? No. Well, it obviously is George Washington, and it is you are the George Washington. What am I talking about? New feature predictions for iPad Mini 7. Okay, so I think it's going to have a ProMotion display, Face ID. I think it's going to be more of a Pro version, so that they'll put some Pro features. So yeah, Face ID, ProMotion, new camera setup, which will probably be like the iPhone, equivalent to the iPhone 15 or something maybe. And what have I missed? I think a new accessory. I think a new Magic keyboard, personally, and a new chip. Obviously, that's what I think, and it will be ready. It will be tuned and ready for Apple Intelligence from the ground up, like the iPhone, even though you can't use it yet. Is the OnePlus Nord 4 the best and cool mid-range smartphone of the year? What's your impression, sir? It's brilliant. The OnePlus Nord 4 is a brilliant phone, but there's been so many brilliant mid-range phones that I've used this year. None of them are Apple phones. But I'd count the iPhone 16 with that, to be fair. But the rest are obviously all Android. I'd need to think about that, to be honest, Rahul, because there have been so many good ones that I've used. Really good for very little money comparatively. But we will do some kind of roundup, I think, at the end of the year with this. So many questions, guys. This is I can't get over how many questions we get. It's lovely. Thank you so much for jumping on. If you've just joined as well, guys, thank you. We're 40 minutes in now. We've still got 200 people tuning in, which is amazing. Right. Andy. Mac Air M3 or wait? As in MacBook Air. The rumours are early next year, aren't they? And they probably will, but don't hold me to this, but I would guess the M4 MacBook Air will come on, well, in January or February or something. So if you can wait until then, I would. If you wait until then nothing happens, get the M3. Yeah, and unless you really need one now, just get it, and you won't be disappointed. They're brilliant machines, those M3 ones. Do you think Apple Vision Pro will have a cheaper alternative? Yeah, I don't know if any were on that live stream, but I did a live stream wearing Vision Pro for the entire live stream. I'll never forget that. It was the most uncomfortable 2 hours of my life. Not because of the live stream, just because of Vision Pro. I think there will be, yeah. I think there has to be. Well, there absolutely has to be. Either that or they can it, and they just don't bother doing anything else with it. I'm in two minds about what they're going to do with Vision Pro. I've barely used mine, actually, since I tested it and did some stuff with it. I used it a little bit to begin with, but it's so uncomfortable. It's so heavy. It's the biggest problem with it. I'm testing some other stuff at the moment in that, I can't say what it is, but in that realm, which reveals what's going on with why the Vision Pro is not selling and etc. But there has to be. If they're going to continue with Vision Pro, there has to be a cheaper one, and one that fixes the issues that the current one has. When we see that, no idea. Life is beautiful. What a lovely username. Amazon is selling brand new AirPods Max, of course, non-USB-C for $400. Is it worth buying because these headphones... No, don't bother. There's so many better headphones out there. Bose, even Sony, even the XM5s I think are better. What else? Bowers & Wilkins, Sennheiser, every brand. Just shop around. Watch all of my review videos, obviously. But no, I wouldn't buy them for $400. Definitely not. Pug63, a regular. Can you see Apple making AirPods and AirPods Pro in different colours? The standard white colour puts me off. I don't think they ever will. If they would, they'd have done it by now. There must be a reason they don't do it. I think it's a brand. I don't think it's a... like an anodization issue, whatever they call it. I think it will be a challenge. I know some colours are quite hard to reproduce and all this sort of stuff. I think it's far more down to the fact that this is an iconic design. I think that for some reason there must be something in Apple HQ which says you never change the colour of AirPods. They are white. That is what the classic AirPods with the silhouette, with the dancing silhouette that's black, and then you've got the white earbuds. That contrast between the two. A very iconic advertising campaign they did when AirPods first came out. They're just white. I think they'll always be white. I'd love to see different colours. I really would. But I love colourful things, and white is a bit boring, he says, with the iPhone 16 Pro Max in white. But yeah, I don't think they will. I think it's a branding thing. Excuse me. Tom, hey Mark, which new Apple product are you most and least impressed by? So I'm most impressed by... that's hard. I'm most impressed by, even though they don't work for me, I'm most impressed by the AirPods 4 with ANC because, like I said, you may have missed it, but at the start of this live stream, these sit in a class of their own. I don't think they've got much competition. I think they're well priced. I think if they fit your ears, that's the only thing you've got to check. They're brilliant. They're probably worth getting over the AirPods Pro 2 unless you want some of the other features and unless these don't fit in your ears. Most impressed by them. I'm least impressed by AirPods Max because why? Charles, evening. Love the videos, thank you. What is your current go-to set of headphones that you use the most? This does change, as you'd imagine. At the moment, it is AirPods Max. I think I will make another video about there's a video about these coming at the weekend. It's a comparison between these and a brand new pair of headphones, which are very expensive. But I will do another video on these, just because I've been using them non-stop since I've got them, mainly because I've spent 500 quid on them, and I feel like I need to. Before these, though, I was using... It's a bit of a mixture. I was using the Sonos Ace. Were getting lots of use at home. When I was out and about, I was mainly using... What was I using? The Bose QC Ultras, Quiet Comfort Ultras. But I change them almost as regularly as I change my t-shirts, which isn't that often if you watch the channel. David, have a quick slurp of water before my voice goes. David James, I think you were on last time, and I was trying to work out if it is the David James, but if it's the other David James, that if you follow English football, you'll know who he is. It'd be brilliant if it was. It's brilliant that it's you, but if it was David James, that'd be just as brilliant. Stop digging this hole. What do you think about the rumour of an iPhone 17 Slim next year? I think it's going to happen, although I think it'll be called the iPhone 17 Air. I think they're going to go down this route of having an Air, because they have to keep changing things, don't they? Have to do something, in fairness. I don't envy any of these smartphone manufacturers, because these slabs of aluminium and glass, they're just... rectangles. What can you do with them? So they have to keep doing new things and bring out new lines of these products. I think an Air would be interesting if it was genuinely very, very thin and had some other interesting stuff going on. I think it's going to happen, though. I do think we'll see something. It'd be something to talk about from my perspective, so that's always welcomed. David, which tech product, if broke, would you buy tomorrow without question, research, thinking about it? You just couldn't live without it. It would be AirPods Pro, just because, assuming I had everything else that I've got at the moment, but I didn't have them, if that's what your question is. I might be twisting the question a little bit here, but it would be AirPods Pro too. These are the glue that holds all this stuff together, I think, apart from the AirPods Max. Axe, hi Mark. What is your experience with the Sonos Ace after so many app firmware updates from Sonos? Brilliant. There's a lot of consternation out there about the Ace, and a lot of very angry long-term Sonos users. Although I've used Sonos stuff for a long time, I don't get that angry. Something happened with their app. I've got no idea what it was. I didn't notice it, to be honest. They broke the app for a lot of people, and they weren't happy about it. But I'd never noticed it. And Sonos Ace are a weird product insofar as they don't do the one thing I was expecting, which was to appear on the Sonos network as another speaker. You can't stream to them in the same way that you can Sonos speakers, which I think is weird, even though they've clearly got Wi-Fi built into them because they communicate with soundbars. It's a bit of a strange product, but if you strip that back and all this kind of hullabaloo about the app stuff, they're just a brilliant pair of headphones. They sound fantastic. They are much better than these. I will do a comparison between them, but spoiler, they are much better than the AirPods Max for a number of reasons. I love the Sonos Ace. Like I mentioned a moment ago, I use them quite regularly at home still. They're great. But I didn't even know they'd had firmware updates. Mine may not even have the firmware updates. They work fine. Patrick. Hi Mark, thoughts on iPhone 16 Pro versus Pro Max for everyday phone? I'm looking at battery life versus size/weight. I don't know. I can't really answer that because I've not used the Pro, and I have a rule of not reviewing or commenting, giving any kind of buying guidance on something I've never used or have no experience of, and I've never held an iPhone 16 Pro. That said, I know people that have, my kind of fellow YouTubers that have got it, and they all seem to be fairly happy with it. I think I think that any trade-off with the battery has been, it doesn't matter because it's smaller, it's easier to use. So I think if this is too big, and it is a big slab of a phone, I think you'd love the Pro. I think it would work really well. Lee, will you review Even Reality's digital glasses? I don't even know what they are, Lee. We may have been contacted by them. Who knows? I don't have those incoming things now. That's all dealt with by someone else. But yeah, Niall, if you've had that email, let me know. But I don't remember seeing it. Maybe. Right, so many questions. Oh, I have to bring this one up. I've just seen a name scroll past. It's not really a question, this, is it? I mean, it's ended up in the questions folder. Typical YouTuber. Patrick Rambles, just checking in on my buddy. I'm all right, thank you, mate. Oh dear, we need to do a collab again soon, don't we? Maybe in a different hotel room. That sounds weird. Was a bit weird. Was it weird? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Was it weird? It was like a presidential honeymoon suite that we did it in, which was a bit weird, but it was a great video, obviously. Oh my, right, Finer Details UK. What is with Apple releasing iPhone 16 cases by Beats? Will we see a new accessory arm of Beats? I don't know, although we are getting some, hopefully, fingers crossed, and I'm looking forward to trying them out. I think the general reception of these Beats iPhone 16 cases is quite good. I love Beats. I love Beats stuff, their most recent stuff. Who knows? I genuinely don't know. But if they're doing this, that they clearly are. They're doing something. There is an accessory arm of Beats because we have those iPhone 16 cases. Whether or not we'll see more, who knows? Dave, do you plan on getting the new Mac Mini when it comes out? Yes, 100%. Can't wait for that. So in this studio at the moment, we have the M2 Mac Mini, which isn't. Where is it? It's over there somewhere. In fact, it's just down there, not plugged in. Hasn't been since we did the kind of studio rejig a couple of months ago. That will get replaced. I do have a plan for it. So if this new Mac Mini arrives, I will be getting that, replacing that one over there, and it's going to be put to use in a studio, a music studio setup, which I've been talking about for ages and haven't done anything with. But that is going to be a big part of this business, and we're very excited about it. But we need a computer for it, and I don't want to use that one because I want the new Mac Mini to talk about. Everything will be driven by that new Mac Mini, so I really hope it comes. That and the iPad Mini. Anders, Xiaomi 14T seems so tempting. Anything to add to the video you made about it? Would it be a mistake to buy it over any of the iPhones? No, it wouldn't be a mistake unless you need the Apple ecosystem. If you don't need the Apple ecosystem and you want a phone that costs less, if you go for the 14T, not the Pro. I reviewed the T, not the Pro, not the 14T, not the 14T Pro. Go for the non-Pro version of it. Which will save you money over Apple, and you'll get an amazing camera system. The only thing it doesn't have is 5x optical zoom. That's the only thing that would bother me. But the image quality is amazing because they have that link up with Leica. Yeah, you won't regret it unless you want an iPhone. And you're asking this question, so clearly the iPhone isn't the be-all and end-all for you. So that's positive. Finn, how many Mac devices do you have? How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. 6, maybe. I only use 2 of them, really. So this one, which is the 14-inch MacBook Pro, and at home, the 15-inch M2 MacBook Air. The other stuff is, like I say, unplugged, or there's an old 24-inch iMac over there, which is occasionally used on the overhead rig. But apart from that, yeah, they don't get used a huge amount, but they're sometimes useful for B-roll. Oh, hang on, what's this? Ben, everyone knocks the AirPods Max, but the ease of use with Apple products and noise cancelling is superb. Do you think convenience is better than tech? That's such a good question, such an interesting comment, and it's a nice contrast to me whinging about the AirPods Max. I think convenience plays a big role, and actually, going back to, as I mentioned a moment ago, I'm using these constantly at the moment. They are very easy to use. There's no getting away from the fact that if you're all in with Apple, if you've got an iPhone, if you've got a MacBook, if you've got an iPad, if you've got an Apple Watch, etc., Apple TV, these are so easy to use. You just put them on your head, and then whatever you're using just comes through it. It comes through these headphones. They've got spatial audio. They've got head tracking. All that stuff if you want it. The calling. I mean, in the defence of AirPods Max, of all the headphones I've tested over the last 4.5 years, and there's been a lot. None of them come anywhere close to these when it comes to transparency mode. So transparency mode is when you let the outside world in. You press the button on here, and it's brilliant. You can hear yourself perfectly. You can hear the world around you perfectly, and because you can hear yourself perfectly, it makes these the best over-ear headphones for taking telephone calls, bar none. Nothing comes anywhere close. So that is still a very big selling point, actually, for the AirPods Max. It doesn't make them worth 500 quid or $549, but in response to your question, Ben, sometimes convenience is better than the tech. It's a very good point. I think it's important we kind of bring that up sometimes. George, what product do you wish Apple would make that they haven't? What do I wish they would make that they haven't made yet? I'd like to see a foldable phone, just to see, like I mentioned earlier, to see what they would do with it. What else would I like them to make? I'd love to have seen the car. I know it's probably not going to happen now, but I would love to have seen that Apple car. Whatever it was they were doing with in the automotive space, beyond CarPlay. I mean, being a car guy, I'd love just to have seen what they did with it, because I have a feeling it would have been typical Apple. That it would have had so many problems, not problems, but so many choices they'd make that would annoy people and confuse, and give the anti-Apple brigade stuff to laugh about. But equally, it would have some amazing things built into it, and you'd want it for some reason straight away. I'd love to see the unboxing experience of it as well. The car, probably. I'd love to have seen what was going on with the car. But I think they've canned it, haven't they? I think it's even an official thing. They've said no, we've stopped Project Titan, or whatever it was called, which is a sad thing. Toby, can you listen using USB-C cable? Sorry, AirPods Max. Can you listen using USB-C cable on other devices without Bluetooth? No, you can't. So on the old AirPods Max, there's a horrible cable that Apple sells, which goes from Lightning to 3.5mm headphone jack. You can plug that into your iPhone. Not into your iPhone, but you can plug it into something with an audio output, and it would work. And the reason it would work is because in that Lightning connection, on that horrible cable, really cheap feeling cable, there's a DAC, there's a digital to analog converter in there. You don't get that on a USB-C cable, certainly with the one that you get with these. So if you plug the USB-C cable from these that come with it, from these into your iPhone, it won't play music through them. You have to still use Bluetooth because there's no DAC in that cable. It's just a USB-C cable. So unless Apple releases a cable with a DAC in it, you can't do it. So these actually do one thing less than the previous version. I never used mine wired, but this has been another thing that doesn't make sense. But it makes sense, but it's another problem with these, which, yeah. Oh, dear. Michael Pepper Tech. Thoughts on the ESR iPad Pro 13 keyboard case? Never used it, I'm afraid, Michael, so I can't comment. But you say you got the Logitech one, which is, I guess, the Logitech Combo Touch. That is brilliant. That is genuinely amazing. They're not sponsoring this video, by the way, but although they have been a sponsor on the channel in the past, just for full disclosure. But it's a very, very good case. I still use it on my iPad Pro, my 11-inch iPad Pro. Brilliant. But no, I've not used the ESR one, so I can't comment, I'm afraid. Who we got? Big Danny. That's an interesting profile photo. Will there be a 120 hertz in 17.7? The iPad Mini, I think, will have ProMotion. If it doesn't, if Apple does that thing again where they don't put ProMotion into it, or they don't do enough with the iPad Mini 7, it's going to be, I don't know. Let's hope they don't do anything ridiculous. Fingers crossed. Nathan, do we think AirTags are going to get an update at any point? One of the rumours is that there's going to be some kind of, this was Mark Gurman, his list of things that might happen between now and Christmas or something, or Q1 next year. One of them was something to do with AirTags, like an AirTag accessory or something. So I'm not sure about new AirTags, but there might be something AirTag related which arrives. I don't know what that's going to be. I'd forgotten about AirTags, I'll be completely honest. Finer details. When will the SE4 be launched? Excited for this one. Meant to be a full redesign. I don't know, obviously, but I think it will be early next year, won't it? Full redesign. It'd be interesting to see what that redesign is. Imagine if it was the iPhone Mini form factor. That'd be amazing. It won't be, but imagine if it was. That'd be incredible. That would be incredible. Still loads of questions coming in. We've been going for an hour now, so it's 10 p.m. in the UK. Doesn't mean anything really, apart from the fact I'm quite tired, so the answers could get worse. I'm just looking at some of the other comments we've had. Let's have a look. Lee says he cares about the 60 hertz phones. Some people do. I know they do. So I was looking through these questions. There's just so many. Where do we start? Let's start with this one again. We'll continue. Do you use mechanical watches or just smartwatches? I don't use mechanical. I used to have mechanical watches when I was a bit younger. Nothing fancy. I never had a Rolex or anything like that. I love a Rolex, but no, nothing. It's all smartwatches. That said, the Huawei Watch 5 Pro and the Watch Ultimate, particularly the Watch Ultimate, I was wearing that at the weekend. So we went to a birthday party on Saturday, and I didn't want to wear this. It didn't look dressy enough for this. It wasn't a fancy place, but we're just going out. You want to get dressed up a bit. The Apple Watch has never felt particularly dressy, so I put the Watch Ultimate on with the link bracelet, and it looked like a really nice watch. It looked smart, and it felt like a mechanical watch. It's the closest thing I've had actually to a mechanical watch. Very good device, that is. Ben, are we just too fussy as consumers now? All I ever hear is negativity towards products, not just Apple. I understand it provokes discussion and views, but will we ever just say it's good anymore? I think, I can't speak for every reviewer out there, but I think for me and people like Patrick and others, I think we do say when things are good. I think the title of the iPhone 16 Pro Max 2-week review that I published on the weekend on Sunday or Saturday it was. Obviously, clickbait. We have to use clickbait. It's just a fact of life. But the two clickbait words I used were disastrous and wonderful in massive, huge capital letters. And that was obviously intentional, but there was the reason for that is that there are disastrous things I think about this from a PR perspective for Apple, camera control, Apple Intelligence rollout, and the not the rollout, sorry, the fact they're advertising it during the sales process. That's in my mind disastrous, but it's still a wonderful phone, and it is good, But we do have to. Yeah, if any manufacturer, not just Apple, if they launch something that is either half finished or doesn't feel right or is awkward to use or is advertised, as I say, during the sales process but isn't there, I know that they're not saying it's there, but it looks like it's there if you don't know any better. We are going to pick fault with that. We're going to do that. But all this, again, I do say this a lot. You can't buy a bad phone these days. You can't buy a bad car, really. You can't buy a bad laptop. You can buy bad versions of all these things if you don't spend any money on them whatsoever. But if you spend over, let's say, on a phone, over 300 quid, honestly, these days, you'll get an amazing phone. It'll have a lovely display, great battery life, it'll be fast, it'll take great photos, etc., etc. So yeah, good enough is there, but it's not our job, Ben, to we've got to do both. We've got to look at both. Yotimbo, will you get the new Mini after getting the new 11-inch Pro? I presume you're referring to the iPad. Yes. If I didn't, I would be doing a massive disservice to this business, because the iPad Mini has been a huge thing for this channel. Thoughts on the Nothing range? Seem to be making a splash in terms of design, etc. I love Nothing stuff. Sounds weird. Always sounds weird. I love what Nothing are doing in this industry. We are trying desperately to work more closely with them, and getting somewhere, I think, slowly, just to get stuff in time to show you guys. Again, coming back to reviews and videos and putting videos out on time, if we get stuff late, the views aren't there, and it doesn't make financial sense to make a video. They're not profitable. Whereas if we get stuff ahead of time, it's a bit different with iPhones and stuff because the interest is retained for quite a while. But with other stuff like Nothing, that interest graph is quite sharp, and we need the stuff there early. So we're trying to get these devices early to show you. But I love what Nothing are doing. I genuinely do. What other questions? We may have to wrap up relatively soon, guys. This might be one of the first live streams where I can't get through all the questions. There's that many, which is amazing and also annoying because I want to get through all of them. Let's see how many we can do. David, if you had let's try and do quick fire questions. If you had a free 50p bet, would you put it on a merged Mac, iPad, new monitors on the watch, or a new product in a new category altogether? 50p bet, I would put it on the most obvious is the watch. The watch is always going to be updated. If I got that question right, that's an easy bet for me. That's not how you bet. I don't bet, really, as that kind of demonstrates. Do you think the M4 will crush the Intel Lunar Lake hype? I have no idea. I don't know anything about Intel. I don't really care about Intel, if I'm being completely honest. Not in a bad way. I just don't have time to look into it. I don't know. They possibly. Yeah, let's just say it will. I told you it's getting late over here. Mickey, what's your wish list for the upcoming Mac Mini? What do you think about space black version of it? Thinking of buying one for my father. I want it to come in space black, definitely, but I also want a Larry orange version. If there's not a Larry orange version, I won't be happy, basically. Do you think we're getting close to getting touchscreen MacBooks? No. Legit Jeff, love that username. Is buying a new M4 Mac Mini worth it, or going with the future cheaper M2 or M2 Pro? As always, Jeff, if you need one now, just get the M2 Pro. It's an amazing Mac, and you won't regret it at all. If you can wait, I'd wait until the end of this month, or maybe to the end of November, just to give yourself a bit more leeway. But I think we'll hear something before then. But if we don't, just get the M2 Pro. It's brilliant. Do you think Apple will directly compete with Meta's Orion glasses? Not for a long time. I've not really looked into the Orion stuff. I need to get my head around that. But no. Vision Pro has got. If they carry on with Vision Pro, which I'm sure they will, and Vision OS, it must have such a long roadmap to get to these. To go from what it is at the moment to these, that's going to take years and years and years. Rebecca, I'm after a small phone, currently have the Samsung A54. Is the iPhone 15 worth it? Don't care about Apple. If you don't care about Apple Intelligence, yeah, it would be a great phone. Like I say, you can't buy a bad phone, and it's only last year's model. I'm sure you can get it a fair bit cheaper now. You don't care about Apple Intelligence. It's not here anyway, Rebecca, is it? We can't even use it, so go for it. Why not? What do you think about the rumoured HomePod type device with a display? What do you think the rumoured HomePod type device with a display will do once released? I'm not sure about this. I think it's going to be more like an accessory for the iPad. I'm not sure we're going to see what we think we're going to see with this. If we do see something like you say, a fixed display, but every time I say that, I just think iPad. I think it's going to be some kind of dock for the iPad. That's what I think it will be. Maybe that's what's going to come with the iPad Mini. That's interesting. What if that? I hadn't thought of that. What if that is part of this iPad Mini release? Is a dock for your kitchen? That would be. I'd not thought of that until then. Thanks, George. Could you imagine Apple releasing an Apple Pencil Mini? Ooh, that's interesting. No, I don't think they will, because the Apple Pencil Pro will fit the... Does it fit the current iPad? No, it doesn't, does it? I've not tried that. Anyway, no, they won't. They'll stick with the regular size. What do you think of the new immersive series Submarine by Apple for Vision Pro? Is this one of the video things? Immersive. It is, isn't it? Immersive series. I've not checked that out yet, Sean. I've checked out the one with There's a tightrope walker, this woman who walks across mountain ranges on a tightrope thing. I've watched that one on Vision Pro, and the thing with Alicia Keys, which is really amazing but weird because you feel like you're in the studio with them. I've not watched this one though. That sounds amazing though. I might even do that tonight. I feel like I should use Vision Pro when I get back to chill out, even though it won't chill me out because it's so heavy. Here he is. Here's actually quite nice, Rob. That's a lovely little profile photo. That is. It looks very much like you. You have thought about an iPad Mini and docked implementation. We discussed it on 8 or 16. Oh, that's how much I listened during 8 or 16, Rob. That's why you're on it, because you firstly, you come out with all the outline. There would not be a show without Rob, literally, but also because he comes up with the outline, and he brings all the interesting conversation, which I immediately forget about. But yeah, I thought that rang a bell. Okay, that's all the questions that Michelle put into the question box. How long have we got? Let's have another 10 minutes. I want to go back and watch that submarine thing now on Apple Vision Pro. Thanks for the happy birthday mentions. That's very kind of you. What's this one here? I love you. That's very nice. Thank you. Very natural and honest. A question. I got the Bose WH. What, the Bose WH? Headphones, but I'm an Apple ecosystem user. Would the AirPods Max be better, or even the AirPods 4 noise cancelling? Not sure what the Bose WH are. Again, it comes back to the ecosystem, doesn't it, Lewis? I think if you need, or Louis possibly. Again, I always get names wrong. If you want the ecosystem stuff, not the AirPods Max, get the AirPods 4. In fact, the AirPods 4, if you've got a bit of extra cash somewhere, they're not cheap. None of this stuff is cheap. But if you can spare 100, what is it, 100 and, how much are they, 170 quid? Whatever they are, it's worth it. Even just to have in your pocket. The case alone, look at it, it's tiny. It's such a cool little thing. Oh, Sony got the Sony. I've seen you in the message. The Sonys. I'd get those. Get the AirPods 4. Just make sure they fit. Make sure they fit. Some people are going to bed. Here's Paul. I know Paul very well. Paul and I have spent a few press trips together. That sounds weird. That came out completely wrong. But we have genuinely spent a few press trips together. And we've had we had a right old laugh. Thoughts on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold? Brilliant. It's over there, actually. It's my second phone, so I always have two phones now. I've got two SIM cards. It's a long story. Well, it's not a long story. It's what I do for a living. Over there, but it's brilliant. I love switching between this and the 9 Pro Fold. It gets me back to Android, because I fell for Android. It was a bit of a fling, and I did fall for it a bit during those 6-7 months. So it's nice to have that Pixel with me all the time. It's a brilliant foldable. Absolutely brilliant foldable. Andrew, aren't you missing the Z Fold 6's larger screen? Not really, but again, I've got the fix with the Pixel, as I just mentioned, but I don't miss the Fold that much, actually. I thought I might do, but I don't really. Another question here. iPad Air 11-inch or iPad Pro M4 11-inch? Comes down to your budget. The iPad Pro is a brilliant iPad, the 11-inch version, but the iPad Air is a bit more affordable. If you can get by without promotion, get the iPad Air. Will we see Product Red make a return? I don't know. Funny enough, I was just sorting out a couple of phones in the drawer a moment ago, and I found the existing iPhone SE that has got. I bought the red, the Product Red version. It looks great. Even now, it looks great. Hope we do. New Bose QC on the horizon, as in a new pair of headphones, or do you mean a new updated review? If updated review, probably not. Someone's shouting here. What's this? Do you have a gap between the frame and glass on your jet black Apple Watch 10? I got mine today, and I am paranoid that it's not fully sealed between the frame and the glass. I think it looks okay. Anything like that, just take it to Apple. If you're not sure, go to the Apple Genius Bar. They are very helpful, and they'll tell you, and they might just give you a replacement anyway. If you're not happy, just say, I'm not happy with this, can I have another one? Get another one, look at it. If it's the same, you're okay. If it's not the same, then it was a good idea. But mine, I can't really tell. It looks okay, I think. It looks fine. Right, we've got 5 minutes. What else can I pick out of here? We've got any other questions in the question bin? Han, is it possible to use the new AirPods Max with USB? We've done this already. You may have missed it. So no, the USB-C to USB-C thing doesn't work on these because there's no DAC. There's no analog digital to analog converter in the USB-C cable, which there was in that horrible cable you could buy. So no, you can't listen to them wired, the new ones. Tutti Pooty. Do you think the AirPods Max brilliant username? Do you think the AirPods Max mesh is washable? I'm not even going to comment on that. Please don't try and wash them. Can it get stained? There probably are ways that you can clean them. One thing I will say, the Starlight version, the case, as you can hopefully see there, the camera focuses. Oh, come on, focus. Gets very dirty very quickly. I've not been careless with these. I've put them in my bag as they are, because you're supposed to be able to, aren't you? And I can't get rid of that mark on there. They don't wear very well at all. But in terms of washing them, I'm not going to. Probably not. I wouldn't wash mine. Do you use the focal Barties? I don't. They're down there somewhere, and that they will feature in a video at some point fairly soon. But they're still brilliant. I love those headphones. I occasionally get them out. I have so many headphones. It's and I have to focus on what's new normally. Loads of questions still coming in. Do you find the new cases for the iPhones with the big cutouts for the new button uncomfortable to use? It's not the case's fault, I will say. They are uncomfortable to use, but that's because the camera control is uncomfortable to use. It's got nothing to do with the case. They've all got different ways of doing it. You know, this one is, who's this, Banks. They've just done this. There's some that have done like a recess, and I've not tried the official Apple one, so I've got no idea what that's like. But it's not the case that's the problem, it's the button itself. Are you team Android or Apple now? I suppose technically I'm team Apple because everything I use is now Apple, pretty much. Unless I swap my watch out, which I do quite regularly now. In terms of the phone, I do wield two phones, as I mentioned. So I've got the Pixel at the moment, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and the iPhone. But I am team Apple because that's everything that I use. And most of this comes back to the Mac. I'm not going to go to Windows ever. So I suppose I am team Apple, but I loved being kind of team Android for a bit. Still love Android. It's a brilliant operating system. Keen to see how the Watch Series 10's durability holds up over time. Maybe a revisit video down the line. Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely revisit it. I need to do that. Fingers crossed. I mean, it's okay. There's not any visible marks or scuffs or scratches. It looks fine. And I have bashed it a few times. What's my favourite watch at the moment? Probably the Huawei Watch Ultimate. I love that watch. George, do you use the PX7 S2e anymore? I really like them. Only thing wrong with them is you have to manually connect to the second device every time. No, I don't use them anymore. I don't think I've got the E's here anymore, actually, but they're great headphones, but I can't comment on that because I don't use them anymore. Right, only got 3 minutes left now, guys, so we may have to start wrapping up, I think. Any other interesting comments here? I think we've got hopefully we've got all the questions. What do you think Apple needs to do to blow us away with the next iPhone? This year, very underwhelming. I don't know. I'm not sure what they can do, really. Get Apple Intelligence out and start doing interesting things with it. Maybe bring out the iPhone 17 Air, or whatever it's called, just to have a different phone in the lineup. I don't know what more they can do. They can't add any more buttons. We don't want any more buttons. Take some of them away, please. Please. Darius has got his own tech channel as well. He's definitely worth checking out. Again, I've spent some time with him on press trips. These press trips are very innocent, I promise, but a lot of these guys I've spent a lot of time with. Hi Darius, thanks for jumping on, mate. How would you compare the iPhone 16 to the Xiaomi 14T series? I've not used the iPhone 16 enough to comment, really. I've used the Xiaomi 14T a lot more. it comes down to the platform. If you iOS versus Android, really, I think I love the camera system on the Xiaomi because it's got that Leica thing, but you can get very good photos with an iPhone. So it purely, it's a bit of a cop out this, but it purely comes down to Android versus iOS. It always does, to be honest. That's the base level conversation, really. Guys, I think we're going to wrap up. I think we've caught most of the questions. Are there any left that I haven't done? No, I think we've got all the questions now. Apart from this one, what Mac would you recommend for a graphic designer? I'm not a graphic designer, so hard for me to say. A MacBook Pro. Although you can do so much with a MacBook Air. That power has been democratized, for want of a better word, for want of a better phrase, with the M series chips. I think anything from the M3 upwards, you're doing well. I guess you need quite a bit of RAM for that sort of stuff and decent graphics performance. So probably the Pro, the M3 Pro, or wait for the M4 if you want to spend a lot of money. Who wants to spend a lot of money? No one. Guys, I think we're going to wrap up now. It's been an hour and 20 minutes, and you guys have been amazing as always. Let me just quickly bring up this one from Paul. Does AirPods Max have an ease of use, volume dial, noise cancelling button, which are easy to use compared to other headphones? This is a very fair point, and the answer, Paul, is yes. That's the other thing. So along with transparency mode, I think the digital crown, which is that, they've only got 2 buttons, actually. There should be an off switch. There's not. That's annoying, but we'll forget that. But the digital crown and the noise cancelling / transparency mode buttons are a joy to use. Particularly the crown. That's, again, fairly unique in the headphone market. And the headphones that I'm comparing these to this weekend, which I can't mention yet, but you'll see when the video goes live, they both these and the other headphones have purely physical buttons for controls, but these ones win because then the other headphones has too many buttons, way too many going on. So yeah, they've got that, definitely got that. Dyson headphones, says David James. They are somewhere in here, but they're a weird product. Yeah, wasn't keen on those at all. Guys, I am going to wrap up. We've still got 148 people watching. We've had an unbelievable number of questions, the most ever, I think. Thank you to Michelle for holding court behind the scenes. It makes a massive difference. And I know you can't see her, but she's working very hard behind the scenes, not just on this, on lots of things. But guys, it's all down to you. Thank you for getting involved. Thank you for your questions. We will do these a little bit more regularly, I think, whenever it makes sense to, and whenever things like this happen where there's lots of different releases and loads of questions coming in. But yeah, you guys do make it. And as always, I do need to say this. In fact, one thing I will say is that we've looked at the stats for the channel recently, and it's something like 87% of people who watch the channel regularly aren't subscribed. And we'd love to get that number reduced, because if you're subscribed, you get, particularly if you hit the notification button, the bell, you'll get notifications whenever new videos go live. We don't want you to miss videos. So if you are watching regularly but you're not subscribed, hit that button, please. And if you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up as always. And yeah, I will return live at some point again, and we'll go through this stuff. So the next bunch of things that Apple releases, or maybe a different brand, who knows. Thanks, guys. I will now bid you farewell, and enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, whatever you're up to. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.